everyone, me again. So if you've been around here before, you'll know that I buy a lot of products from the brand Revolution and I review them over here on this channel. And over the last couple of years, they've definitely become my favourite makeup brand. Everything they make is really on trend, it's affordable, they're very inclusive of skin tones. Obviously I don't like every single thing that I buy from them because that's just not the case with any makeup brand, but the majority of things that I've picked up from them I have really loved. So today I wanted to do a top 10 video featuring my favourite 10 products from Revolution. So I'm including like all the Revolution brands in this video. So they have their main brand, which is Revolution. They also have I Heart Revolution, and I'm also including Revolution Pro, which is a range that's aimed more at makeup artists. I would be including Obsession as well, which is their sister brand. It's sold at Boots, but I don't think I have any Obsession products in this top 10. It's not because they're not any good. Revolution are at Superdrug, Obsession are at Boots, and I just shop for makeup at Superdrug a lot more. I think everything I'm going to mention today has been featured in at least one video or a blog post. So I'll link all of that stuff in the description box below. Anyway, that's enough of an introduction. Let's get to the top 10. So number 10 is this Revolution Ultra Bronze. This is a really lovely bronzer. It's £3, which is really good value, and it's massive, as you can see. So I didn't start wearing bronzer until a couple of years ago, and that's because, as you can see, I'm very pale. I found it very difficult to wear bronzer. A lot of bronzers were just far too dark and far too orange for me, but this one is absolutely lovely, and I've been using it for a while. It's a really nice colour if you have a fair to light skin tone. It's got a good undertone to it, so like it's warm enough to be a bronzer, but it's not going to look orange on super pale skin either, which I really appreciate. And it's not so overly pigmented that you're going to mess it up if you're a beginner. It's just got everything you could need for a bronzer, and it's such a staple in my makeup bag. As I said, this is one of the first bronzers I found on the market that actually suited me, so this will always have a special place in my heart. You can also use this as eyeshadow as well. You can wear it in the crease. You're welcome. Next up, number 9, we have the Conceal and Define concealers. I think for some people this product would be a lot higher up in the top 10, but for me it's not my holy grail concealer. It's a concealer that I like and that I've obviously got quite a few shades of because I do use it, but it's not my number one favourite holy grail concealer. That would be the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in 05. Sorry. I do want to try the Conceal and Hydrate concealers that have just launched, but obviously I have so many of the Conceal and Defines that I kind of want to use these up first, and then when they run out I'll repurchase Conceal and Hydrate just to try it out. But these are really good concealers. They are super cheap. The smaller ones are £4 and the bigger ones are £7. So if I want to match my skin tone exactly, I'll go for C1 or C0.7. If I want to highlight, I can use C0.2. And I also have a white concealer as well that I can mix with other concealers that are too dark. It does cover spots and it's really nice over the eyes to use as an eye primer. It's good for cut creases as well. Sometimes in the summer I do enjoy wearing this instead of a foundation. It just depends what my skin's doing. The shade range, by the way, for their concealers is so impressive. They have like a million. I can't remember exactly how many, but it's a lot. So you will absolutely find the right shade for you. If you've got normal to oily skin, you'll probably really love this concealer. If you've got normal to dry skin, I would maybe think about trying the Conceal and Hydrate version. Maybe just go to Superdrug and swatch both of them on your arm, see which one you like the feel of, but these are still really nice as well. Number 8 is the Salted Caramel Lip Gloss. I have fallen in love with this over the last few months. I haven't even had it for that long, but honestly I've been wearing it so much because it just goes with every single eye look you could possibly imagine. Might even put a bit of it on now actually. It smells absolutely delicious. I also have the chocolate brownie one, and that has a scent as well. This one is a bit more rich, it's a bit more of a chocolatey scent, and the colour for this one is also really nice. It's a beautiful everyday mauve colour. I absolutely love these. I think I reach for the salted caramel one a little bit more just because it is that classic nude shade that you can just wear every single day. These are only £3 each, but they're really pigmented. They're not that sticky. Obviously it's a lip gloss, so it's going to feel a little bit like something on your lips, but it's definitely not the stickiest lip gloss that I've ever tried. It's actually quite pleasant. It feels like quite moisturising if your lips are a bit dry. I have tried other lip products from Revolution and I've liked pretty much all of them, I think. Some of them were the wrong colour for me, but I've never disliked the formula. For number 7, I have cheated a little bit. I've got 2 of their foundations here, and the reason I wanted to include 2 is because I will switch between them just depending on what my skin is doing and how long I need my makeup to last, things like that. But I did want to give a massive shout out to their foundation in general, just because it is probably the best shade range in the drugstore. I am very, very pale, and up until a few years ago it was actually really difficult for me to find a foundation that matched me at all. I kind of relied on having white foundation mixer, and at the time of filming this, even though I really enjoy foundations from other brands, the shade F1 in the Revolution range, that's the only foundation that perfectly matches me without me having to mix anything else to it. So there's a couple of foundations from Maybelline and from Revlon that I love, but their undertones are just completely wrong. I've got a neutral undertone, and usually when you find a pale foundation in the drugstore, the undertones are way too yellow or way too pink. Revolution F1, they're the only brand that get my undertone perfect, so I really did want to include their foundations. I have a dedicated review of both of these foundations actually, and I also have a video talking about 4 Revolution foundations and comparing them to each other as well. I have ordered the new Conceal and Hydrate foundation, it just hasn't arrived yet, but as soon as it does, I do want to review that as well. So I've got the Revolution Pro foundation drops here. These are just lovely. It feels so lightweight on the skin, but at the same time it's really, really pigmented, and you can get a pretty decent amount of coverage from this. I'd say the texture for this one is more on the satin side, but if you wear like an oily primer underneath or an illuminating primer, you can get it to look quite glowy, or you could even mix a liquid highlighter with this one if you wanted a serious glow. But it's just so lovely because you can shear this out, or you can build it up and just get the absolute perfect coverage for you. On days when my skin is looking a little bit drier, or when I just don't have as much time to do my makeup, I prefer the Revolution Fast Base Foundation Sticks. I have the shade F1 and F2, but it's just your typical foundation stick that you twist up like this. This is £5, but you get quite a decent amount of product, and this stick is actually surprisingly pigmented, so you don't really need too much with this. I actually think this product looks a lot better when you don't go overboard, so start off small and definitely build this up. The foundation sticks are not the most long-lasting product in the world. If I want my makeup to last a bit longer, I will absolutely go for the foundation drops instead, because they do stick around a bit. But honestly, I love both of them. They both have a place in my heart, and as I said, I reach for them depending on what time of year it is, how dry my skin is, you know, anything like that. And they're both really affordable. The foundation drops are £7 and the foundation sticks are £5 each. If you've watched any of my makeup tutorials over the last couple of months, this next product will not be a surprise at all. This is the I Heart Revolution Girl's Best Friend Highlighter. This is a really, really pretty baked highlighter, and as you can see, it's in these 3 sections. So you've got 2 lighter ones and then the slightly darker one in the middle. Obviously, if you're as pale as me, this is going to look absolutely beautiful. I'm actually wearing it right now. If you're a little bit darker though, I don't think I'd recommend that one, just because 2 of the shades are so bright. If you've got a deeper skin tone, I would probably recommend this one instead. So this is in the same range. This is called their Goddess of Faith highlighter, and as you can see, it's just that little bit deeper. So this one's actually too dark for me to use as a highlighter, unfortunately, but I do really enjoy using it as an eyeshadow. The shade is absolutely beautiful. For me, like I said, the Girl's Best Friend is absolutely perfect because it does have the 2 whiter shades. Next up, again, you'll have seen these in a million of my makeup tutorials, but I really wanted to share their oil primers. So the first one I tried from them was the Revolution Baking Oil. This is actually a brand new one because the last one I had I completely used up. This is £6, and I've also recently picked up their Gold Elixir Rosehip Seed Oil. So this one's a little bit different. This one is £10. You get a bit more product in there for your money, so you get 30ml instead of 18 that you get in this one. And this one can actually be used as part of your skincare routine or as a primer. I normally use this as a primer, but it does feel really, really nice on the skin, and I can imagine a lot of people would really enjoy using this before their moisturizer as well. This one here, the baking oil, is a little bit thicker. So I'd probably recommend this one if you've got drier skin and just need that little bit more hydration. You just want a little bit more of like a slip to the skin. But both of them are very, very similar. You probably don't need both unless you're a makeup hoarder like me. If you've got dry skin, if you've got mature skin, even if you've just got like a few fine lines underneath your eyes, you will really, really like these. These ones are still fairly new, and I didn't get them that long ago, but they've already made their way into my everyday makeup routine. It's the Revolution Pro Powder Foundations. So it's this little compact like this, and then you open it up and you've got a really, really good coverage powder in here. And you also can open it up and have the little sponge down here as well. And there's also a mirror here, so it's really good for travel. So if you're like me and you do tend to have a lot of skin redness, and you find that foundation and concealer just don't always cover everything 100%, this is probably ideal. Or if you just don't like liquid foundation, you'd rather wear a powder foundation, you'd like this as well. Again, a little goes a long way. Don't go overboard with this one. It can look very cakey very, very quickly. This is the shade F2 here. I also have the shade F1. I find that the shade F1 is a little bit more chalky. There's definitely a bit more fallout in the pan when I press my brush into it, and usually the shade F2 works a little bit better, but I'll probably reach for the shade F1 a lot more as it gets to like winter when I go really pale. And then next up, number 3, we actually have another setting powder. Though this one is technically a highlighter, I actually use this as a setting powder. This is the Revolution Pro Skin Finish in the shade Luminescence. This is a really, really beautiful baked powder. I think it's a dupe of the MAC Skin Finish. Is that what they're called? I don't know. I don't really do makeup that isn't in the drugstore, to be honest. But yeah, this is a really, really beautiful setting powder. If you think that the powder foundation sounds a bit too matte and a bit too heavy for you, and you want something a bit more illuminating and glowy and subtle, this is the one. This is £5, I think. And it comes in a few different shades if this one doesn't float your boat, but this is the one that works best for me personally. It looks quite pink in the pan, but you can't really see that too much if you're just using it as a setting powder. If you did want to build it up and use it as a highlighter, then that would start to come in a bit. But yeah, I've been preferring to use this as a setting powder, especially underneath my eyes as well. If I use like a matte setting powder under my eyes or the powder foundation, things do not look good. There's too many fine lines under there, but this is very, very forgiving. It's very soft, it's very subtle, it's very glowy. I feel like I'm saying the same adjectives over and over and over again, but you get the idea. It's really nice. Go buy it. Number 2, the Revolution Pro Fix Fixing Spray. I have been using this for years, I think. And you'll see this over and over again in all my makeup tutorials. I will shower myself in this stuff after I've done my makeup. Again, dry skin, sometimes products just don't look that great on my skin texture. This setting spray really helps everything to just mesh into the skin, and any kind of cakey areas where I've gone a bit overboard, this can kind of just help it to settle in. If you find that your liquid foundation is getting a bit cakey, spray a bit of this on your foundation sponge and go over the problem areas, smooth everything out. Yeah, I know it's a really, really basic product. It's maybe not as exciting as some of the other things I've shown you, but honestly, I use this so much that I couldn't not have it on my list. Like, I've got so many bottles of this as backups because I just never want to run out. When I don't use this after I've done my makeup, I can really see a big difference. It might not be the best if you want like a really, really long lasting fixing spray, but the Obsession one is actually really good if you want to do that. I'll link that down below as well. But yeah, I have dry skin. I obviously don't have a massive problem with my makeup breaking away too much. So for me, this one is absolutely perfect. It's also one of the best value setting sprays on the market as well. It's £5 for 100 ml. I use this all the time, cannot rave about it enough. And my number 1 favourite Revolution product is probably not going to surprise anyone at all. This is the I Heart Revolution Chocolate Cherry Eyeshadow Palette. And it is beautiful. I absolutely love this palette. I've got a dedicated review on this palette. I've just filmed a look, this one, with this palette as well. I think I've used this palette quite a few times on my channel actually. It's absolutely stunning. It's got all the colours that I would kind of gravitate towards when I'm doing my makeup. You've got the kind of neutral shades, you've got the pops of pink, you've got the rose gold, you've got some like darker shimmery browns in there, you've got the darker matte browns to smoke things up a bit. It's absolutely beautiful and it smells really, really sweet. It smells like candy. It's absolutely beautiful. This costs £9, which is such good value for the eyeshadows alone, let alone like the cool packaging and the mirror as well. I'm just absolutely obsessed with this particular eyeshadow palette, but I do recommend like a lot of their Revolution eyeshadow palettes in general on the #1 spot. And honestly, if you are new to Revolution and you're trying to get an idea of what to buy, if you're doing your first haul with them, go to the eyeshadow palettes. That's where you want to be. I've also really been loving their Provocative palette, which is very similar, but it's a bit more monotone, it's a bit more purple. I am going to review this soon, by the way. I have another one of their Reloaded palettes. These Reloaded palettes, by the way, are £4, which is just amazing value, especially for the quality. This is the Velvet Rose one. I've done a video on this as well. I also really love their Revolution Pro eyeshadow palettes as well. This is the Regeneration one. You're probably seeing a theme at this point. A lot of my favourite eyeshadow palettes are very neutral, but I promise they do have some really exciting ones as well if you're a bit more adventurous with your makeup than I am. If you do want to see more Revolution eyeshadow palettes, go and watch my eyeshadow palette collection, because a lot of my eyeshadow palettes are Revolution. Like 90% of my collection is from Revolution. It's kind of ridiculous. And that is my top 10. Those are my favourite Revolution products. If you've tried anything from Revolution, let me know if you agree with my top 10 in the comment section below. Let me know if there's anything that you like a bit more, or if there's a product that you think should have made it a bit higher in the list, if there's a product that I love that just didn't work for you. Let's all have a chat about it in the comment section below. Like I said before, I do review a lot of Revolution products, so if that sounds like your cup of tea, please consider subscribing. I upload new videos every Sunday at 9 AM and occasionally on a Wednesday as well. I also have a blog at redsmakeup.blog where I review products as well. All links to the blog and to social media, etc. are down below. That's everything from me today, guys. Take care, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye!